Sometimes in life we just suffer. Sometimes it's from being totally withdrawn, or so much stress that we are totally anxious, or so tired that we are totally burnt out. But our current position is not our final destination. No, indeed. There's hope. So whether it's your personal life, your career, your relationship, your business, or your job, we say there's reason to believe again. And we present from Andy's personal development, the breakout room. It's the place for health, happiness, and prosperity. Stay tuned for more.
Hey, and welcome. We are live in the studios of the Breakout Room, and we have a very intriguing and special guest to share with you on this episode that is entitled Onboarding Major Brands into Web3 with Eric Mchugh. Remember our three watchwords: health, happiness, and prosperity. And we're going to look at probably the last one more than anything else, and some health, of course, which combined together with prosperity could bring us some level of happiness. So without further ado, let's introduce our guest. Let me tell you a little bit about Eric. He is the president at ShopX Labs and chief growth officer at Data Inc. Eric is a 30-year-old entrepreneur whose philosophy emphasizes the importance of simplicity, adaptability, and a clear mind, which has translated well into the world of Web3. And from an entrepreneurship perspective, he specializes in leveraging his strategic thinking and adaptability to create innovative and effective solutions to the challenges facing this cutting industry. There's so much more, but we're going to leave the rest up to Eric as we introduce him as our guest. Welcome to the Breakout Room, Eric Mchugh.
Hey, Angie, thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful to be here. And I love the way you start off with health, wealth, or health, prosperity, and happiness, because all three of those are extremely important. Because I believe you're happiest when you're serving other people, and I view money as neutral. So if you're trying to gain wealth, how do you gain wealth? The best way to do that is to serve as much people as possible and produce as much value for them as possible, which should translate into wealth. And you can't possibly serve people to the best of your capability if you're not in good health, because it's all related. Like, health is wealth for a reason. And to the point of happiness, I view happiness as your base. So if you're inherently happy, like if your core is happiness, how do you become happy? You simply relax into it.
Yeah, I love that. That's a wonderful way to begin. And we already have a thumbs up, a like from our audience. So that means what you said was appreciated and it connected with someone. Thank you so much, Eric. So as we get into the heart of the matter, when people hear the name Eric Mchugh, including all the wonderful things you just said a minute ago, what is the one thing that you want them to remember the most, that you think stands out about you, Eric? Tell us.
So the first thing to be honest, I mean this in a really friendly way. I don't particularly care what people think of me. I find it interesting that you have your view of me, my mom has your view of me, I have my own view of myself, my brother has my view of me, and they're all different views of me. So they're all separate beings. But I would say the one word I want to stand out is probably authenticity.
Yeah, authenticity. And why is that so important?
Yeah, because I think God, the universe, or the creator, I think they bless me with individual gifts. I think they bless you, Andy, with individual gifts. I think they bless each of your listeners with individual gifts. If you try to be me, I'm sorry, man, you sing great. You can't beat me at being me, but I can't beat you at being you. So if we go back to the original ethos of if you're happiest when you're serving other people, how do you best serve other people? The only way to serve people at the best of my ability is to be authentic. Because if I'm following my authenticity, I'm taking advantage of my natural gifts, and that's how I can serve people at scale. Versus I'm doing what someone else tells me, what I'm programmed to do, then I'm following someone else's authenticity, which I'm not the number one them, I'm the number one me. So I have to be my number one self, and that's how I best serve other people. And this resulted in two different companies.
Yeah, very important. I like how you show passion when you share that. What is the real story behind Eric Mchugh bringing you up to this point where you are now? If there are some of the things that you can go back down memory lane and remember, the lessons that you probably would have learned that led you to the success that you have achieved now, what would stand out in your mind, if anything at all?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is honestly being in the present moment. I think if you're in the present moment, that's when you can make the best decisions. And if you're calm in the present moment, that's the key to success. So, for example, when you're playing chess, you may have screwed up the last move, you may be in a poor position on the chessboard, but there's always the best possible move you can make. The only way you can make the best possible move is to focus on that move that's right in front of you, and you make the best possible move. Then you make the next possible best possible move in the next round, and the next round, and it sends you on an upward trajectory. So that being in the present moment is important. Being adaptable in startup world is being adaptable important, as well as your content. I'd say your content is extremely important. And by content, I don't just mean food. I think of everything as like I think of everything in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So just like if I eat a specific food, like I eat something good, I feel good the next day. I eat something bad, I feel bad the next day. The social media content you program yourself with is extremely important. So you program yourself with uplifting, positive content, like your podcast, you're going to be better and you can best serve other people. The people you surround yourself, if you surround yourself with good people, you'll vibrate to their frequency, and then you'll put yourself in the position to succeed. So, for example, my whenever I meet someone, my goal isn't to sell anyone. My goal is to connect and to see if I can support them. And because I'm putting out that frequency and vibration, they're attuning to that. So I'm like, yo, man, how can I serve you? And they're like, oh, Eric, how can I serve you? And then all of a sudden we're in a serve off, which is a much better way to start a business relationship than someone that people are trying to like sconnive out of like a little bit, like an extra percent on a deal or trying to sell someone on something.
Yeah, I like that. It reminds me of something that I have basically constructed together in my coaching field, and I call it transactional conversations. And the basis of it, Eric, is the ability to understand when we speak with each other how we can exchange value in what we say to each other. And it's not about me thinking about what I'm going to say, but it's me listening to what the person has to say and then responding on the basis of the value that I would have received from what the person said. And I think some of that is really lacking and missing in our world today. Yeah, go ahead. You were
Oh
saying
no,
something.
I was gonna say I 100% agree. Whether it be personal relationships or business relationships, I won't enter a relationship where one party loses. So either that's me or the other person. I won't do it. And the reason it's pointless because in a powerful versus forceful relationship, a forceful relationship is one party loses, one party wins. That's unsustainable because someone's gonna eventually be like, all right, I'm losing them out. Whereas in a powerful relationship where both parties are winning, that's sustainable because you're both working together to grow the size of your specific pies. And so you both win together and it'll last for a while.
Yeah, yeah, that's so very true. So, Eric, what is the driving force behind Web3?
Yeah, so the driving force behind Web3 is ownership. So
Mm-hmm.
to understand what Web3 is, I think it's best to go back between Web 1 versus Web 2.
Mm-hmm.
So Web 1, it's very simple. Just think of read only. So you can go online and you can read content, which is fantastic because this helps spread information. The easiest way to frame Web 2 is read and write. So just think of Instagram, think of Facebook, think of social media. So you can write content and you can read content, but you don't own the content. So for example, I can write an Instagram post, you can read that post, but Instagram owns that post. So if they want to cancel either of us, they can. If they want to sell our data, they can. So in Web3, it's read, write, and own. So not only can you read content, you can write content, but you also own the content. So for example, if like I'm an e-commerce business, I'm an influencer, I'm whoever, I create a piece of content, you purchase the content, or I send you the content, either way, you now own that piece of content. There's now a funnel between me and you where I can send value your way and you can send value my way. So it creates a more free flowing energy stream of value. And on top of that, once you own the content, it's yours. I may be the creator. You may like, I may be the creator. I'm like, oh, Andy, I want to take back this content. I can't do it because it's your content. The government, Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, they can't be like, okay, I don't like Andy's show. Let's cancel them. They can't take it away from you because it's your content. And I think this is extremely important when you think of just content and the cancellation culture we have now. And the more importantly, when you think in terms of money, like I don't think people should be canceled monetarily for wrong thing.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Eric. So, how can a major brand get the onboarding process through Web3?
Yeah, so I would say that I'm a bit biased too because I'm working with I'm working with ShopX. So normally, as a major brand, if you want to enter Web3, you have to hire a Web3 developer, hire a graphic designer, have to hire someone to build a website, hire a bunch of stuff, hire marketing teams to push out a product. And this could be expensive for something that may not work. But ShopX has spent millions of dollars and lots of times simplifying the process. So if you're on Shopify or WooCommerce, which are two of the four major e-commerce platforms, and you want to enter Web3, all you do is go on your Shopify account, you search ShopX, just like your iPhone has apps, Shopify and WooCommerce have apps, so you search the ShopX app, download our app, create an account, and then within two forms in less than 5 minutes, you can launch an NFT collection. And then once your NFT collection is launched, since we're already connected to your store, you can program an e-commerce benefits for your customer in the form of exclusive products and discounts. What's happening on the back end is you're deploying your own smart contract, you're filling a form, you're doing a bunch of code stuff. But again, we've simplified it to two forms, so whether you know what that means or not, doesn't really matter.
Okay, great. I hear you. What does the future of Web3 look like? Are there any plans in the making for expansion or different platforms?
Yeah, so in terms of Web3 mass adoption, I would say we're 10 years out to full mass adoption. And by full mass adoption,
Wow.
I mean people using Web3 and they're not even knowing they're using it. So for Web3 to be successful, my mom has to take out her phone. She does tap, tap, tap. Her NFT does her thing. It claims her discount. The merchant gets paid. And no one knows what's happening in the background. And the reason I say we're around 10 years out is because there are two major roadblocks in the way. The first is user interface. So if I were to send my mother, my grandmother, or someone without Web3 experience to a Web3 product, the learning curve is simply too difficult. And this solves itself because of the composable nature of Web3. Composability is essentially the compound interest of software, meaning we only solve problems once, aka pretty much everyone copy and paste code and just builds off of that. So once the major brands, I could tell from conversations, they're dipping their toes in. Like they're like, okay, Web3 is the future. Let's not go all in. Let's see what it's about. So like, for example, once Nike decides to go all in, Adidas has to go all in. Reebok has to go all in. Nike has the capital incentive to build a seamless customer interface for their customers. Nike, Adidas, and all the other brands see how to do that, then they optimize it based on that. And this way, the whole system as a whole gets stronger once one big fish comes in. And I can tell you just from personal conversations, that's the path we're going. And the second reason Web3 hasn't been mass adopted is incentives. Like, there's no real reason for, well, I think inflation's a reason why people should get into Web3, but either way, if you don't know about that, it's not an issue. But there's no real reason for the average person to enter Web3. It's like, why would I care about Bitcoin? Why would I care about
Mm,
NFTs? Why would I care about cryptocurrency? I don't. So I'm just going to ignore it and I'm not going to take the steps to learn about it. But that's
yeah.
where ShopX comes into play. So we offer e-commerce brands incentives to offer their customers into the space. So for example, if a brand uses our products and services, they launch a Web3 product, they add e-commerce benefits to that product. So if the customer is a fan of the brand, they want the free product, they want the discount, they want the in real life events, they want the exclusivity. It's like, well, I like these benefits. They purchase the Web3 product, they claim those benefits. That's a 0 to 1 moment for a lot of people because they wanted the e-commerce benefits, but now they know how the technology works. They're in the space. And if they want to learn more, they can at their own pace. Because I think we both know you can't force anyone to do anything.
Yeah, so very true. So, Eric, how did you develop the passion for what you're doing currently now? What was the main attraction for you getting involved in this level of technology?
Yeah, so to go back to the original statement, I'm going day by
Yeah,
day,
yeah.
present moment by moment. So it was a long path. I learned a lot on the way. Obviously, a lot of ups and downs, but my why has always been the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I have two purposes. The first is the inner purpose and the outer purpose. I
Yeah.
think everyone's inner purpose is the same. It's to raise your own level of consciousness, and that raises those around them, and those around them create a positivity upward spiral. And the outer purpose is how do your gifts manifest into this to raise your own level of consciousness. So my why behind ShopX is I would like to live a nice, peaceful life. That's always been the goal. I think a lot of people want that. Um, I found that harder to do if I felt the monetary system to be corrupt, aka inflation stealing for me. You every second of every day funding God knows what, and I'm in the States, and some of the stuff they spend on is truly it's simply money laundering at this point. But me, that's neither here nor there. So that system led me to find physical gold and physical silver as a potential solution. So I got into physical gold and physical silver before cryptocurrency, but that like knowledge led me to find Bitcoin as a next evolution from that. Okay, I think Bitcoin's the next step forward.
Yeah.
Let's run with this. And then ShopX is a way for me to onboard people into that ecosystem at scale. So, like for example, our biggest client is Fox TV's new show Capopolis. If they use our products and services to enter the space, they offer their customers who are new to Web3 technology. Those customers enter the space because they want e-commerce incentives, and it goes back
Mm-hmm.
to the theory of, oh, this is a 0 to 1 moment for a lot of people.
Yeah. Great. So I want to look at your present motto because I think it is very unusual and quite interesting. I do what I feel like and trust anything is possible.
Yeah, well, because I think everything is possible.
But
Uh,
how do you analyze that in terms of your attitude and your belief system?
Yeah, so my overall belief system, and I think this is key to my level of success, because I think that I believe in quantum. So I believe there's an infinite number of possibilities happening in the present moment. The one that's showing is the one we're paying attention to. So if you focus on negative stuff, your life will become negative. If you focus on positive stuff, your life will become positive. If I focus on why ShopX is going to fail, the universe will see, okay, he's focused, because where your attention goes. So if I'm focusing
Mm,
on why ShopX is going to fail, the universe is like,
yeah.
okay, it fails for this reason. But if I focus on why ShopX is going to succeed, it'll succeed for that reason. So in terms of I do what I feel like, it's like, well, because I'm incentivized to make this successful. So, and again, like you have to be adaptable in like a startup world. So it's not like you have your set tasks. You have, because I have two different companies too. So you have your set task. You don't have like a set task daily type thing. You have to jump around to a bunch of different apartments, a bunch of different things, doing a bunch of different things at once. So whatever I feel like is just my intuition and my gut saying this is the most important thing for me at the time. So I get it done and move on to the next one. And again, the anything as possible is extremely important because I truly believe that the universe, God, or whomever, I think they have a plan for me. And I'm too small or significant to understand that plan because who am I? I'm just a person. But I think the plan is in my favor. So I think everything that happens in my life has a positive outcome. So whether it be seemingly negative, let's say like a girlfriend breaks up with me. Okay, well, that means I'm just making way for the right person. So that type of attitude is taking me pretty far.
Okay, great. And your main intention is to spread as much positivity as you possibly can. How do you intend to do that? What is the main vehicle that you'll use to spread that positivity?
Yeah, so in terms of spreading positivity, the main vehicle I use is vibration. So I view everything in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So if my intention is to help as much people as possible, people try to help me as much as possible and creates a nice positivity upward spiral for us, which is why I love going on podcasts. Because let's say one person, one listener, they leave this podcast slightly better off. Their vibration has then raised. What do? They go out into the world with a slightly raised vibe. They raise the vibe of those around them, and it just spreads like this way. So I think positivity is extremely important, and I think negativity is being pushed for a specific reason, and that reason is control. So if people are out to spread positivity, we'll eventually tip the balance in our favors, and life will get better for everyone as a collective.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Eric. You spent a 10-day of noble silence in Vipassana meditation retreat, and you recommend that for everyone. Why exactly?
So it's been one of the most transformative, beautiful experiences of my life. And to go back and make it pragmatic for your business listeners, a while back I found a previous startup, and we were at a VC incubator, one of the best in the world. So essentially, what an incubator is, it's startup school. So our startup is next to another startup, which is next to another startup. So during that point of time, I made a point to network and connect with as many CEOs and CTOs as possible in different industries to learn what I could. And a pattern I picked up was some of the most all the successful ones had some form of spiritual practice. So like meditation, affirmations, journaling, they all did that without fail. So obviously at the time I was working 12 hours, I ignored that. But then eventually the opportunity came up for me to attend this Vipassana meditation retreat. So what this is, it's the method that Buddha used to reach enlightenment. So what you do is you focus your attention on the area around your nostrils for the first 3 days, and you start to pick up different sensations. And then after that, you scan your body back and forth over and over again. What this does is it extracts the traumas that you've stored in your body throughout your whole lifetime. So it's a spiritual purification process. So just like if you're a scientist, you have to send a rocket into space. You have a piece of metal you need to be pure. The best thing to do is run it through magnets. It extracts impurities. So you're doing that at a spiritual level, and eventually you're left as a positivity generator. And if you think of everything in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, when you say, okay, when every emotional state is a different frequency. So shame is the lowest, sad, anger, hate, those are obviously pretty low ones. The ones on the higher spectrum are love, peace, happiness, joy. So when you attune, just like a radio station, when you attune to a specific frequency, that's the station you get. So if you're sad, you attune to the sad frequency, that's what you get. Loving, that's what you get. Anger, that's what you get. So because I'm a positivity generator, I go around genuinely wishing everyone the best. I'm like, okay, I hope everything works out for you, dude. I hope your family has a great life. I'm attuning to that frequency of joy, abundance, and love. Then I'm matching with people who are also tuning to that, which honestly just makes networking a breeze.
Yeah, wonderful. In terms of the people that you work with, Eric, with regards to challenges that they may face and understanding the power of the technology that you're using, what are some of the things that they say to you is probably challenging for them, or maybe the newness of it is something that they're trying to come to terms with? And I'm speaking about that from the perspective of seeing so many things happen in the AI industry. It seems as though everything is happening fast and speedy, and we're always trying to catch up. Are you seeing that kind of challenge with some of the people that you're working with regards to the technology of Web3?
Yeah, so in terms of Web3, if you want to break it down into two different funnels, so let's go
Uh-huh.
tech and marketing, just because I think those are two different sides of the business that both need to work.
Yep.
From the tech side, the most challenging part is a simplification process, because Web3 is just a massive internet thing. And customers, and especially, so we're a B2B to C company, meaning we can sign all the brands in the world, but if they can't sell our product to their customers, it's dead on the water. And not only are brands fickle, like if something's not working easily for them, they're kind of out. Brands, customers, extremely fickle. So if things don't go work well for
Wow.
them, they're instantly out. It's like, how do we simplify the process of creating an NFT, adding e-commerce benefits for that, and make it easy for the customers to interact with in a space that's not really great at that? So that was our biggest challenge. And honestly, it took a lot of time, lots of money, lots of iterations, lots of customer feedback to figure that out. And that's
Yeah.
a problem we're just going to continuously work with. It's like, it can always be easier. It can always be better for the customer. So continuous optimization on that. And from the marketing perspective, the marketing sales perspective, the biggest challenge has been the verbiage. So how do we get, that's why I'm able to give that, like, what is Web 1 versus Web 2? What does Web 3 pitch so effectively? It's because I've been on plenty of calls with business executives who are like 50, 60. They don't know what Web 3 is. They don't know why they should care. So you need to break it down in terms of understand. So you just want to compare it to stuff that they're already using. It's like, okay, Web3 is just an additional stream of revenue for you. What is it? It's creating loyalty passes with RWA technology. Oh, you can tokenize a product. Why would I want to do this? Oh, that means there's a physical to digital connection. So just like a barcode, you're just doing that in Web3. So it's the verbiage and the simplification, I would say, is the biggest challenge.
Yeah. Great. Thank you for sharing. So we've been hearing so much wonderful content from Eric Mchugh, and we'll go for a quick, short commercial break. We'll be right back. FindRadioGuest.com,
the place to click to find guests to interview for free. And if you're a radio show booker, podcaster, talk show host, or television producer, then this is the place to get podcasts and radio interviews or promote your books and products as a guest expert sponsor. FindRadioGuest.com. Check it out.
Yeah, so we are back and we are live in the breakout room with Eric Mchugh, and he's been sharing some amazing information with regards to the emphasis on understanding the onboarding of the use of web3 as a technology for the future with progress. I have seen many people confused by cryptocurrency and the technology that's surrounding it. And I've seen countries as well change their financial legislation processes to either not welcome it or to have it being used but in a limited form, in a limited capacity. Where do you see that happening in the near future, Eric? What do you envisage for cryptocurrency and all the other technology that surrounds it?
Yeah, so I think that's a pretty easy question. You just have to take country by country and look to see who has to gain something and who has something to lose something by adopting cryptocurrency. So I'll just break it down into two extremes. Who has something to gain? A country like El Salvador. So what they did is they adopted a Bitcoin standard. The country started buying Bitcoin with their treasury. They're using their natural resources to mine Bitcoin. And what's this doing for them? Because it's Bitcoin friendly, they're attracting the talent, they're attracting the capital, they're attracting people to come to their country. And what's happening because of that? Other countries are seeing that and starting to take notice. But on the flip side, who has the most to lose? It's like I'm from the US, the US government has the most to lose because the dollar is a reserve currency. So that's why they're fighting it so hard. And the reason they're fighting it so hard is it's an incentive-based thing. So like I said earlier, I view money as neutral. I think if you make money by providing a tremendous amount of value to people like Elon Musk, good for you. But in our system, if I want to become rich as possible without providing any value, how do I do this? I place myself right next to the money printer, aka the Federal Reserve. What do? I take that money, I give it to my friends in contracting space, and I get rich, they get rich off of mining or dying. And what do? I bring three more friends who are corrupt. Now there's three corrupt people. We have the backing of the Federal Reserve and lobby, and we'll always beat the non-corrupt people because that's just the game we play. Like, for example, if you have unlimited money, in politics, you're going to beat the person who has to actually fundraise. So this is the incentive is wrong. Whereas in a Bitcoin cryptocurrency world, if I want to become as rich as possible, there's only one way for me to do this. I have to produce value. Because so like Andy, if I want your Bitcoin, how do I get your Bitcoin? I can't print it away. I can't take it away. I have to create something of value for you, and then you send me your Bitcoin. So now if I want to become rich, the incentives at my core become value creation versus value extraction. And while this is a powerful concept in our generation, just think of like 3-4 generations down the line, if everyone's just trying to produce value as much as they can, and the only way for you to produce as much value as you can is to follow your authentic gifts. And then AI is a tool just to leverage that too. Like, for example, if I'm a kid I'm Filipino, let's say I was born in the slums 50 years ago, that's just my life. Like, I was born in the slums, but like now let's say I'm Filipino in the slums, but I have a great idea, I have something I'm passionate about. I can use AI to help build a website, write the copy, do a bunch of stuff to manifest a company faster, to start serving people faster, and then they can use blockchain to connect to a worldwide financial ecosystem. So it's beneficial for both people. Plus, the US, like, you lose that surveillance. So in a cryptocurrency world, the reason they're fighting back is, obviously the government likes having a lot of money. It must be nice to just, if I need money, I'll just spend it. Like, that'd be cool. But it also loses the surveillance factor. So right now, the governments can peer into each of our individual transactions, everything we see and do, and they can cancel us for that. But if we ask our governments, like, hey, where's our money going? There's no answer. It's like they fail all their audits. But now in a blockchain system, that system is reversed. So it's pseudo-anonymous. So they can see individual wallet activity, but they can't mass scan. So if a wallet's doing wrong, like they're funding terrorism, funding bad things, obviously that's not a good thing. You can use detective work to find that wallet, identify a tip person, but you can't just mass surveil. And on top of that, if the like a government's on a blockchain based system, all of us can see exactly where every cent we pay them goes to. So if they aren't spending it on good things that we want, the people will know about that. And in the age of social media where information spreads like wildfire, I think that's something some governments are trying to prevent, but some governments are trying to go forward. And the beautiful thing about Bitcoin is it's a game theory thing. So it goes up all the way from the top. So I bought into Bitcoin. Now I'm incentivized to tell people about Bitcoin because A, it's good for them, but my Bitcoin price goes up, which is why I'm talking about right now. Companies they play by the same rules. Like MicroStrategy, they're a Fortune 500 company or whatever. They start buying Bitcoin on their balance sheet. They made profit. A bunch of other companies and CEOs are seeing that. Now they're buying Bitcoin. And same thing on the country level. It's like El Salvador is buying Bitcoin. I'd be willing to bet at least other countries like Argentina or Brazil, they're looking about it. And then, so like now everyone's incentivized to jump into the blockchain space first.
Yeah.
So I think it's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah. I love your response. Very detailed, and you look at so many different aspects of it. Have you been looking at Nikola Tesla in terms of the scalar light technology?
No, but I do love Tesla. I think he's fantastic. So I've been looking to Tesla for different more spiritual things. I never actually had the chance to dive into his actual work. So that's where I get the whole energy frequency vibration thing from, which is
Yes.
interesting enough because I've been
Yes.
following some of the ancient religions and all this stuff is based on that. So it's going for a full circle.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, with regards to the other company, Data In, you guys are looking to match 1 billion happy couples in the future. That's a heck of a goal, Eric. How do you intend to accomplish that?
Oh, by creating a better product. So it's relatively,
That's a simple answer.
yeah.
I know and I understand that. But what exactly are you going to give people in terms of the platform, the opportunity that they would see a standout, something unique, and they would seek to get a match there?
Yeah, so what we do is we put our users in the position to succeed, which is different than the present day dating app market. So what dating is, it's the first ever AI powered matchmaking service. We generate profiles for you, an auto generated profile for you based on your digital footprint and match users based on their digital footprint. So if you look at the current dating app landscape, let's use Tinder for example. 5% of the users get access to everyone on the market, creating a skewed marketplace. Everything is physical based, so people it's hard to find authenticity. You're just looking at someone's face for like a second, swiping left or swiping right. But the biggest and most interesting issue is the incentive structure behind Tinder. So if
Yeah.
Tinder were to match a happy couple, what does this mean? That happy couple leaves Tinder. This creates, they then lose a paying customer. Tinder's in bed with Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs would sell it their own mother for like $5. So Goldman Sachs doesn't like losing money. So this creates a churn marketing incentive. So they make their money by keeping someone on the dating app Ferris wheel. So it's like you download the app, delete the app, download the app, delete the app, download the app, delete the app. It's all by design. And a little known fact is most dating apps are owned by Match.com, so there's somewhat of a monopoly factor. Whereas dating is, our incentive is to match as many people as possible and put them in the position to succeed. So, for example, I get my 3 matches. Actually, Kimberly Jane. It's like, oh, tell me more about Jane. She connected her Facebook. You're the oldest. She's the youngest. Our pattern recognition software says this works well. She connected her Instagram. You both go to national parks. That could be a good match. She connected her LinkedIn. You both have similar career interest. Oh, she connected her Spotify. Did you know you both follow this one Spotify artist? Did you know this Spotify artist has a concert coming up? Would you like me to suggest David Jane? The date gets suggested. She sees my profile to make her feel comfortable. She's like, okay, this person seems normal. We have mutual friends. We go on that date. Let's say we fall in love and get married. It can act as a relationship bubbler after that. It's like, okay, you guys have been on a date in 3 months. We recommend this service for the kids. Would you like me to call an Uber? Would you like to make reservations at the place you had your second date? They have a half off sale of sandwiches. Great. Oh, did you know Jane's birthday is coming up? Oh, she just added something on her Pinterest board. It may be a good gift. So again, we'll make our money if a user is using our app. They plan a date through our app. They pay through our app. We get a commission based on dates. So our incentive is to get people as many dates as possible. But in the end, it all ends up the user sells the date probably, so it'll be friendly. And long term, it can be a community building app too. So I could take on my phone, like, yo, Andy, this is our first time meeting you. I don't know you, but you seem cool. We could tap our phones if we're both dating users. It can show us what we have in common. And like, okay, you guys are both into this stuff. Here, maybe you guys want to do this as a hangout. So you can build community that way.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I love it. Sounds really, really good. Something to look forward to. So, in terms of what you are seeing in the world today, and I want to look at it from the reality of the negative aspects. For some people, it's a positive, but for most of us, it could be a negative. There seems to be too many wars, unnecessary confrontation. And when you look at the budgets, Eric, billions of dollars are being put into these wars, one way or the other. And not only that, there's a huge loss of human life. People are being displaced daily. I've seen videos where people are walking around with practically everything they own on a knapsack or a bag, and that's it. They're just seeking a place to set up a tent. Those are the things that really irk me because I think that the original aspect of creation, whether you want to look at it from the universal perspective or God perspective, is that we all were placed here to enjoy the amenities of this life one way or the other, and there should be some level of equality across the board. What is the one thing that you think we should never have to deal with, Eric? It should not be a problem for mankind.
And I love what you just said. So like, I've always wondered. It's like my thing is like, why did God create humans? To enjoy His other creations. So we owe it to God to enjoy other creations, and to the point of like war and just on that point, yes, both sides are being profitable. I think there's a small groups of elites who control the world, who control governments, and they're just funding both sides of the war and making tremendous amounts of profit and extracting resources from the general population.
Yeah.
From a spiritual perspective, negativity is being pushed for a specific reason. So if you go back to that vibrational scale, like shame is the lowest, anger, fear, pride, they all resonate between 100 and 200. So people are most likely to be controlled when they're in a state of fear, anger, pride, hate. So if you're a group of small people trying to control the general population, it makes sense for you to push that type of content, which is why whenever I log into Twitter, whenever you log into Twitter, it's like a bunch of negativity. And to answer your question, what should someone go without? What should someone never go without? And the answer to that is love.
Ah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And that should be a universal thing that we all have and share with and for each other. When someone is looking to build a business from the ground up, what are some of the things that they need to focus on and not should do, but must do if they're looking to succeed?
Yeah, so the most important thing, honestly, dude, is just to get started. I'm a
Uh-huh.
strong believer in when you start walking the path reveals itself. So if you have a business idea, again, keep to your authenticity because if you're trying to build a business, authenticity is key because you're the number one you at the world. Only you know what's best for you, and only you know how you can best serve other people. So do that. If you're having trouble starting, it's like you can do something simple. Like you can create a Google Drive account, fill out folders like biz dev, engineering, whatever. It'll start to fill itself. It's like, I have a marketing folder. Maybe I should create a social media folder within that. Okay, I have a social media folder. Maybe I should buy the Instagram domain or create the Instagram. And you just kind of start building that way. So the start is important. And I think I think a very important thing is to have to have positive intentions. So you should be trying to spread positivity. So when you're creating, everyone's a conscious creator. Don't take anything or don't hurt anyone or harm anyone in any way, and don't take away from anyone. And if you follow those rules, you should be good. Because I also believe in karma. So if you are breaking those rules, it'll come back to bite you. So don't do that. And then the long term goal is to set a strong intention because I think there's a limited possibilities. So if you have strong intention in a positive way, you'll know your intention, you'll get there eventually, and how you reach that, you don't know because you don't know your day by day. I don't know what you're doing a week, but if I know how it's going to be, I'm going to behave in a way that's going to be how that way is going to be, and then realities will collapse into that specific timeline. So that's why I said dating is going to match a billion users. How I know it's going to, how we're going to get there, I don't know, but we're figuring it out, and we're eventually going to get there.
Yeah, figure it out as you go along, but you know what you're looking to accomplish. Yeah, that's important. I really love that. So, in terms of, let me put it to you this way. Let's say you have a megaphone, and I know you really speak about positive vibrations and you speak about the virtue of love. But if you had the opportunity to speak to the leaders in the world and you had a megaphone that they could hear you on every continent, what would you say to them, Eric?
Just stop trying to control everything. It's like, dude, can you like it's like for me, it's like they would ignore it too, because again, I don't think a lot of the leaders are coming from a place that's best for us. But like, it's
Mm.
like, dude, can you just stop stealing our money and involving people? Like, can you just not do that? It seems like common sense, but
Wow. Oh my gosh. Amazing. So I just want to take things back a little bit and kind of have some fun if we could. You're into sports, Eric? Are you, besides chess and stuff, are you like into soccer, football, baseball, that kind of thing?
I used to play baseball and soccer
Mm-hmm.
growing up as a kid. I always love going to I love going to live sports. I think it's very fun, like to be in that. Like I think it's more like being in that environment, cheering with that amount of people, like kind of focus on one thing. I think that's a good experience. I used to be way into more sports, but now I'm more into like I kind of switched off of that. So now I like Muay Thai and I like chess. So those are my main things. So in terms of like professional sports, I used to
Yeah.
be an avid Laker fan, an avid Dodger fan, but
Ah,
now I prefer to watch my friends who are actually fighting, and like I'll cheer for them as opposed to like a UFC event. Like I'd rather watch them fight than like the. Don't get me wrong, we'll do both, but it's like I'd rather watch my friends fight than someone I don't know.
okay, great. And when you say fine cuisine, what kind of cuisine are you referring to?
Like I like any food, like honestly, but in terms of fine cuisine, I really love presentation where all the little things are taken care of. Like so, for example, if someone makes a dish, there's like a line on the dish. The line of the dish is leading from the dot on the food, and it's facing me. And the same thing with like the other plate, like I'm sitting across from someone, it's also facing them. So I like when everything is kind of when everything is like thoughtful, everything's made to work together, and I think I like when food pairs together. So whatever all ethnicities have fine cuisine. So like whatever that for tastes, like I'll eat anything as long as it's made with thought. Like it's not just like thrown together.
Okay, great. So with regards to Shop X, are there any competition, people doing the same kind of thing, experimenting or otherwise, or have been somewhat in the field before?
No, so, I mean, so of course, I mean, of course, the real business answer is yes, there is competition, but I don't view it that. I don't view them as that way. If anything, I view the
Mm.
competition as somewhat of a food source. I think we have the strongest, simplest product. So if you're interested in them, that's just going to be a lead gen funnel for ShopX long term. So we're just focused on what we can build. And again, Web3 is more it's more work together than Web 2. Like so for example, the Fox deal. We work in like five different companies, each doing a specific part, each doing that specific part really well. So there's more room for collaboration and competition in Web3.
Mm.
But for the new competition is things have coming out. Um, it's going to be challenging for you because we've been around since like
Hold on,
2016. We
hold on a sec. Hold on a second. Okay, I lost some power there, and I just had to pull up on my reserve. Go ahead,
uh,
Eric. Sorry about that.
yeah,
Go
no.
on.
So in terms of competition, like ShopX has been around for the longest. We minted our first NFT in 2016 before NFTs were a thing. We were already working major brands like Fox TV and all that stuff. So we have a pretty good first mover advantage. So if someone's looking for Web3 space for e-commerce brands, a lot of times ShopX is the first person to come to. Plus, the biggest challenging, you touched on it earlier, is there's a large legal moat that's set up for new competition trying to enter the space just because we are where we're operating. Like we had to
Mm-hmm.
spend a lot of money on legal work just to build out the proper framework for all to work. So that creates another barrier to entry for potential competition.
Wow. Yeah, okay, great, wonderful. So, on that note, we have basically come to the end. We have just about 45 seconds remaining. And I just want to give Eric the opportunity. I'm going to just put some stuff there up on the screen, but I want him to just tell us how we can effectively and efficiently make contact with him on any of these platforms for his expertise and his knowledge as we seek to go forward and probably build and create enterprise for the opportunity for health, wealth, happiness, and prosperity.
Yeah, and honestly, thank you for the shout out. So if you're interested in ShopX, Web3 e-commerce, the best place would be our website, shopx.co. If you're interested in dating, it'd be DATAING.io, and that's AI powered matchmaking. But if you want to connect with me personally, again, I'm trying to help as much as possible, and I love talking about health and the spirituality aspect. So at that point, my Instagram is probably the best bet because we can do the whole voice note thing and connect there.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for sharing. So, folks, there you have it. We have had Eric Mchugh, President at ShopX Labs and Chief Growth Officer at Data Inc. And he's been sharing some amazing information with regards to how their technology works, their platform works, what are the basic advantages and benefits with regards to businesses and onboarding of major brands as well. You have his information there, so please make contact, get in touch with the man, and let him help you do something to expand and create greater opportunities for prosperity and success. Until next time, this is Andy of Andy's Personal Development together with my guest Eric Mchugh saying, so long, Godspeed, God bless, guys. Shalom, Namaste. Bye for now.